Yep, starting on Antigua Shipyard here. It's going to be a TBT. You know, pretty sweet startup. I know it's been a little bit of some time between before I've been able to cast some TBTs. I've been casting so many, non-mirror matchups. So.
Yeah.
But I like mirror matchups in particular. Like TBT on Antigua, so it's unique. You know, we can talk a little bit more about the map itself after we introduce our players. You want to introduce our Red Terran up here?
Red Terran, top left-hand corner. It is JediMcroTrix.
Very, very cool. And, of course, in that cross-spawn location, that bottom right, we've got his opponent, the blue Terran player, known as Monkey. So, TBT, Antigua Shipyard, they know that it is cross-spawn because it is a tournament map. Basically, all tournament maps of Antigua have cross-spawn. The latter edition's a little bit different. You'll see that they'll, can spawn anywhere, but just to make it as balanced as possible, they've had it set that way.
Yeah, TBT, also, Monkey has an apt name for TBT specifically because there's actually a lot of guerrilla tactics that go on in TBT where you typically, in PvP, you see pretty similar builds. The ZVZ, they can alternate early on. TBT, though, they are always changing and usually very, very different. You go commands. The commands are first very dangerous. One barracks expansion, reactor, Hellion expansion. You can even just sit off one base and go for a one base push. I mean, there is a lot of options in the early game TBT. So we'll have to see what these players choose to go for.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to kind of see their styles play out in TBT because that's another factor that plays into it. But right now, looks like standard stuff from them, both going for the barracks. And, best of 3, you might start out, okay, let's go for a standard game, try to feel out how my opponent plays. And then game 2 or 3, we might see a little bit of shenanigans going to get used. But SCVs know exactly where they need to head, and they're going to head over to that cross-spawn location right away. And they'll see basically the same thing. Okay, you got the barracks going down, and it's looking like that one barracks expand. But, we could see shenanigans still crop up, like more barracks get thrown down instead of a command center, but most likely right now it's looking like the one barracks expand from the player's perspective.
Yeah, and this is very safe, very, very safe from both players. They're probably not going to cheese. Well, this is first game, so you do have a game that gets to quote unquote throw away. But actually, Monkey getting his orbital command center just a little bit later there, so it's going to put him slightly behind in his mule economy, but it's really not going to matter too much. You're going to see JediMcroTrix going to be getting his command center out really, really fast here. So this early game is going to be initially very, very passive. It's going to be that mid game that we're looking to see here, potentially when each player goes for their refineries.
Yeah, we see both players opting for the command centers. On the low ground here, they have that one Marine out, and they realize they can deny any sort of scouting from either player. But like you mentioned, the refineries are going to be kind of the next tell of what their plan are. And okay, so JediMcroTrix is going to be going down double refinery action, and we see that Monkey's going to be doing the same thing. Now the follow-up from this is kind of, it can vary. Oftentimes we'll see like 2 more barracks get added on. Sometimes they'll get a quicker factory kind of thing. So we'll have to see what how things are going to progress. Is it going to be like a bio style of play from the Terran players? Is it going to be a bio mech style with Marines and siege tanks? Or are they going to favor just pure mech? But right now, command center's finishing up here. Now, one thing we didn't really talk about is because the GSL version of this is the center minerals are not gold. The MLG is the only tournament that still has the gold minerals there, but Antigua is still a difficult map to secure a 4th base. So basically whoever controls the center controls their 4th base and has the ability to kind of get ahead in that late game and be able to just kind of take out their opponent.
Right away here. Yeah, Monkey's throwing down his reactor onto the barracks. Looks like he's going to be in conjunction with that factory. So he's going to lift off that factory. But for double reactor Hellions, JediMcroTrix doing the exact same thing, so exact same build still here. I know we said earlier that maybe we won't see this in TBT, but of course there is that chance where both players do go for the same build. It's going to come down to, in this early mid game, who executes better. Who decides to go out to the middle of the map, who has better positioning, really who makes the less mistakes.
Yeah, and Jedi here is delayed his additional barracks for a little bit, and he's going to be opting down for a starport. Okay. So yeah, now we're starting to see some slight divergence in these guys' play. As Monkey opted for the additional barracks there, he's going to get the tech lab on the factory as well. So interesting. We got potentially to see Banshee to follow up, or he could just go for a little bit of scan gets used, a little bit of Hellion drops, styles like that. But Monkey gets a scan, sees everything. Jedi realizes, okay, you know what I'm doing? I better scan and see what you're doing. So they basically now know, all right, we're doing different builds. What can I do to kind of take advantage of the fact that you went for X build and I went for Y build?
Yeah, you know that this is a standard scan timing when both players do it at the exact same time. And I think Monkey should know that, actually, I was going to say that Banshee's coming out, but instead it's actually going to be a medevac, so it looks like he may try to elevate his Hellions into the main base here of Monkey, catching him out of position. Meanwhile, by adding those 2 additional barracks on, that's going to indicate to us that he's going to go a Marine siege tank style with early siege tanks. This will be a very, very heavy Marine force early on, which Monkey may want to try and press that advantage. We can see the Hellions now moving into position.
Yep, there are 4 over here, so we could be able to lift up and just jump right into that mineral line. But siege mode being started now, so it's a little bit late. You know, not that big of a deal though. And oh, this could be a big deal. He is moving out, and we'll be heading to the center of the map, and he'll be very much so out of position to deal with this drop. Yes, there's another tank popping, but this could do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, this is not good, not good whatsoever. Actually, Monkey's gonna time this out pretty well though with siege mode. We're going to see here is, yeah, MicroTrix should not retreat. Those aliens aren't going to do too much by coming back here. There is a missile turret, though, coming up for Monkey, but it will not be in time here. It looks like JediMcroTrix might be able to do a good amount of damage. There's no actually additional siege tanks on the way here. So these Hellions have free roam. Got to be careful not to lose that medevac. Meanwhile, push at the front of the base here. SCVs are coming out to pull on the repairs onto the bunker, but Monkey is going to push on forward. Meanwhile, these Hellions doing a lot of damage. SCVs fighting into the main mineral line here. Looks like this drop actually will eventually get cleaned up. Meanwhile, Monkey is now finally laying siege right now onto MicroTrix.
Yeah, 17 SCVs were killed with that Hellion style, but I don't know what Jedi has to deal with this tanks. Like, yeah, he's got a Raven out there, but Raven really won't be able to help at all in this situation. And this bunker is not long for this world. Let's go down. He's got to fall back. Marine's actually taking a lot of damage there. One tank does pop out for Jedi, but he does not have siege mode finished. So his natural expansion is going to be forced to lift off there. So he's in a lot of trouble to deal with this. More tanks just kind of repositioning here, and he's just going to walk his way right into the main base.
Yeah, this is kind of your standard tank push. Leapfrog, 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 leapfrog. That's Monkey what's doing right now. MicroTrix, though, he's playing this very patiently. He has to wait. He's got his mech units on the way. Siege mode is not done, though, and that's kind of the key factor that's allowing Monkey to push on forward here. His siege tanks don't have the power that Monkeys do, so he's bringing SCVs out. He wants to try and save that reactor. Possibly not the best, or save the factory, pardon me. Possibly not the best idea, as he's losing more and more workers. Not looking very good. Siege mode is now done, but has there been a lot of damage, has there been too much damage already done here?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically evened out in that Harvester kill count, but now siege mode's finished, so we could see Jedi start to bunny hop his way forward, but he just lost one of his factories here. Hellions trying to come up and help a little bit, but it looks like he will be able to save, and Monkeys start to fall back a little bit. And this is smart. He has no air control here. We notice that there is a Viking and Raven out for JediMcroTrix, so he's able to lock down and get better vision, and so Monkey's able to fall back and kind of re-secure things and progress a little bit further on. He's got the starport coming up here with the reactor, so he can start to get the medevacs and the Vikings out. Has that +1 infantry weapon and stim on the way, so he's looking pretty good. I mean, like we mentioned, those Harvesters killed, 18 for Monkey he killed off, and JediMcroTrix killed 17. So, you know, not too bad economically between the two. You know, Monkey's a little bit behind actually in that Harvester count at 28 to the 39 of his opponent. So even though the Jedi lost a few more, he's still looking pretty good in his Harvester count, and his tech is not bad at all. He looks like he's going to be relying on a more mech style of build. I'm surprised we didn't see any Infernal Pre-Igniter get researched anytime soon, though. But what are your thoughts on kind of not getting it yet?
Well, we're going to see it really, really soon here, because Monkey's now transitioning into a pure Marine force, and that's an interesting read there from him. I guess he feels a little bit more confident. He wants to rely mostly on his mobility against the mech style that JediMcroTrix is doing here. So MicroTrix, though, he did a really good job of securing that. He just bought himself time, kind of minimized his losses. He didn't lose his orbital command at the natural, which was very, very big for him. And You know, honestly, this push coming up is pretty scary, but it's going to be hard to break a mostly siege tank army, especially with a good number of Hellions, with just basically Marines and a couple of siege tanks.
Yeah, and we also see that JediMcroTrix doing the smart thing and throwing up missile turrets in his base. He knows that one of the ways that he could get caught out of position is drop style of play. But, you know, scan gets used, so he immediately sieges up. He's like, all right, you're probably going to be moving up towards me soon. I just need to get locked down my position. And sending the Hellions out, but big stim with all of the Marines there. He just kills off a barracks for that, though. And, you know, medevacs aren't here to help support, so I don't agree with just kind of stimming your whole army like that. I think that's a little bit kind of almost sloppy play. Like, you can stim like a small battalion of them, and whoa, Hellion's going to run right into the natural here.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to clean up a lot of SCVs potentially. There is a good number of Marines and Marauders here to try and clean this up, but a lot of damage has been done here. And again, since that SCV count was so low early on here, 52 to now to 21, this is going to help JediMcroTrix. I want to keep calling a mind trick. The McroTrix just get further and further ahead now, and this is where his army composition kind of excels in this later game. If he gets a good number of siege tanks up in corporation with a handful more Hellions, there's no way that Monkey can really engage us directly, and he shouldn't be, honestly, with a Marine-based army. And you know, McroTrix knows this. He put up a sensor tower. He has a good ring of missile turrets to deny those drops, so McroTrix doing a lot of little things right here, and that's going to honestly help him probably secure this victory. We don't know, though, because, of course, McroTrix, he could mess up with his positioning. And that's the one thing with mech is you need some very, very good positioning.
Yeah, but the medevacs are now out for Monkey. He is sitting 1-1 with his Bioforce, and I like that he's just kind of clearing the structural rocks down. He's like, all right, you know what? My third base is up. Yours should be up soon, and he's going to get in there and seize. Oh, there's nothing yet. But the command center is going to be heading over there. He does have that one Hellion there kind of scout, so he's like, all right, I can't land that yet. I need to get a few siege tanks out, lock that down, and okay, I was about to say, when is he going to start adding additional factories? Now we see 2 more going down in the natural expansion there. So, a very nice play. You know, he was only rocking 3 for quite some time, so you can see his resources got a little bit high there, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, his mech army is still looking very strong, unless he gets caught out of position where his tanks are completely on siege or something. He'll be fine to kind of move out and take his third now. Yeah,
McroTrix, he's just setting up to try and take his third. Again, positioning, very, very key for him. Now, he can be kind of the bully and really assert his map dominance. He just has to be really careful that he doesn't spread himself too thin. Looks like Monkey's moving up towards the north here. He's going to move into sensor tower range here. Actually, he's going to try an elevator play right to the top, most likely. With, yeah, siege tank slow push here. That's the one thing that he can ship here, but you got to be careful with those missile turrets. He's going to lose 1 medevac, half full of units. But now, Monkey in a pretty good position here. He's going to rely mostly on his siege tanks. But the one thing, though, McroTrix, he has to scramble back. Actually, all the siege tanks are missing.
And this is a little bit difficult. I mean, yes, Monkey cannot keep reinforcing to the high ground, but there's still that Bioforce that can come in, pick off supply depots, pick off reactors into the lab, and just fall back to the reinforcement of the tanks in vision. So we will see the Hellions position where they're a little bit safer on top of those supply depots, so that Bioforce can't do too much damage. And now a tank is here, and oh, reactor. Oh, okay, decides, no, I'll let that live. It's okay. I noticed you got tanks now. We fall back. And we could see, yeah, he's just going to pick up and try to reposition, maybe go. Oh, he scans and saw there's no support there with the tanks.
Yeah, he's actually going to move in and pounces them on immediately. A very good read there by Monkey. He's going to clean up most of the tanks, but he loses a ton of his Bioforce, though. And the thing is, he's at 89 supply, and these tanks are trading so effectively right now. And one thing that Monkey has been lackluster on is his medevac production. It's hard to keep that up, especially when you don't have air dominance such as McroTrix. With McroTrix with 3 Vikings, they immediately pick off those medevacs, so that makes that Bioforce just less deadly and less sustainable in big fights.
Ooh, a little mistake there for Monkey is he's just now establishing his third base. We only see 3 SCVs there. He's got 1 mule mining, but I mean, he's been struggling to get his economy kind of back up and running after all of that economic damage has been done with those Hellion drops and the Hellion run-bys. He's only at 42 SCVs compared to that 78 of JediMcroTrix. But we see a giant Doom drop going to be loaded up here, and he's just going to try to just land right in the main base. And this is actually going to work out well because the missile turrets haven't been rebuilt. The sensor tower is not rebuilt either. He's going to try to throw him down, but one lone Hellion to save the day is not going to be enough.
Yeah, I think the target here for Monkey should probably be. You got to try and cripple the economy, I guess, whatsoever, or try and go for the factory, the production, because it's harder to rebuild that mech army. But it's looking very hard. Even though he's going to do a lot of damage here, he has to be careful in not losing too many units to the siege tank. Going, the one siege tank's going to volley away. He's going to hack away at Monkey's army. Monkey doesn't have a very big army as he stands. He actually kills the orbital command there. A very nice move. He's going to try and go after that one siege tank, but there's a little cradle there in between the factories. So Monkey's done a lot of good damage. He's killed off most of production and almost actually reset the tech tree. There is still another factory, though, in that natural expansion. But Monkey's done a really good job, and actually that's going to force JediMcroTrix's hand here.
Yeah, I mean, we do see that Monkey's just going to lift up and try to get out of there, but he's not going to get back in time. There's a huge wave of Hellions, and Siege Tank is going to lock down all of Monkey's base. Yes, he does have a small Bioforce there, 4 medevacs to help out, but that's a lot of damage from Blue Flame Hellions, and all of the Marines just get roasted alive. The Marauders, the hardier units, are doing a good job staying alive, but now tanks siege up, they're going to get taken out very, very quickly. You see those medevacs go down as well, and what will Monkey be able to do?
Right now, McroTrix needs to be repositioning. Oh, I thought he was actually going to drop right onto the siege tanks here. I thought, you know, he could have doom dropped onto the siege tanks. Monkey's still contemplating what he should do at this point in time. He's going to stim on back, it looks like here. I think he might try and reposition his. I don't know. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in any situation here. And Monkey's just going to go and try and counterattack, but McroTrix has a siege tank, and that's going to minimize the damage done here.
Yeah, and it looks like Monkey just like, okay, you know, if you're locking down my base, I'm just going to try to go for this base race style of play, but, you know, there were still a few factories left, so a couple tanks out, doing a decent amount of splash damage on that Bioforce, more Hellions coming out, so it's, you know, you can just lift up these command centers, be okay, but we noticed that JediMcroTrix still locking down the production facilities now. Monkey's got the natural completely overrun. There's those Hellions that took out the third base here. And he could just, you know, unsiege a couple, move into the main base, and really take out that base. But over in the fourth over here, the left-hand side, double starport action coming out, but GG's called.
You have one of those buttons.
Yeah, of course I have one of those buttons.
That's good. I like that.
TVT, though, to start things out. It is, of course, best of 3, so it's not over and done with there, but, you know, mech versus that biomech style of play, it was still very even, but JediMcroTrix did so much economic damage there. It really put Monkey in a very, very difficult position. And then when he did, that Doom drop did a lot of damage, but he didn't really have anything at home to defend, so Monkey's kind of got caught very much so out of position after his Doom drop. You know, did a lot of damage, but also took a lot of damage. He kept going into those little chokes between the factories and having those tanks do all the splash damage to him. So not too bad of a first game to start things out in the SPGL North Division here, if I would do say so myself.
Yeah, you know, just to go back to the game again, the early game really belonged to Monkey. He had possession of that early game. His composition really relied on doing early damage, and he did a good amount, but it was the anti-timing really coming out. I guess he did the slight read, the slight adjustment actually from JediMcroTrix, going for making a trick actually instead of a Banshee, going for a medevac, really elevated him to that victory. He killed off a lot of workers. The worker production for Monkey really wasn't as good, unfortunately. So that kind of led him in the late game. I mean, late game economy, you're going to rule over top of your opponent. So, and especially your unit composition with mech, you're going to be absolutely devastating. So if you're not constantly doing harassment, which Monkey really wasn't, he looked like he was trying to engage directly. I did like the elevator play. He did get a good amount of damage done. He just didn't leave in time. If he would have left a little bit earlier and didn't really overstay his welcome, and things might have turned out different for him.
Oh yeah. I mean, we'll see kind of how he tweaks his play going into this next game. Of course, it is a best of 3. He does get to choose the map here. But of course, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoy this league, you know, check us out. You can follow us here on Twitch.tv to get notice when we go live with the events in the North. You can check us out on Twitter at SemiProGaming, and that'll let you know when we go live with any of the events. Of course, if you're wondering why am I not playing in this, or why am I not playing for my region, you can sign up for this. This is the first kind of event. This is kind of the start of Season 1, but there's still plenty more content to come. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what happens to the people that win this Season 1 event right here?
Well, season like the whole season.
Well, how about this one first?
This one first.
This open tournament here.
Well, they get their qualifier spot in the Nationals. That is correct.
Yeah.
What is the prize pool here for this? Is there?
Well, the open one right here, just the top two go in, but the national one is $1,000 prize. Okay. So not too shabby there for a lot of the aspiring players, the semi-pro players out there.
And especially if you just want a tournament experience. I mean, Zeke offers some good tournaments daily, but to play in an actual league where you're playing week after week, just in brackets, for the potential to move up in not only your region but going into the nationals is really, really cool. So SPGL, not necessarily they're doing a lot of good things for esports, obviously, with any tournaments. And of course, we have to thank our sponsors, Antec and Kingston HyperX, for providing us awesome gear. I know I have. Actually, one thing we have to point out here, of course, there is the subscribe button for $5. I believe we're giving away what we have here on the stream, which a little preview. It might be a little bit hot downstairs, but I have these fans here to keep me cool. But they're computer fans, so to keep me for the record. Yeah. But we will be giving away not only Kingston HyperX's. I'm not sure what swag they have given away to the other streamers, but we have the Antec stuff, so we'll be previewing that before our finals and telling you guys all about the Antec fans that I've received, and they're pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, you guys stay tuned. You can learn a little bit about that and potentially have your chance to win some of this gear throughout this season. Of course, also the $5 sub gets you access to all of the other streams as well. Like on HD quality, you don't have to worry about being like, all right, I subscribe $5 to this one division. Do I get the other ones? Yes, you do get every single division. So if you're like, you know what, I've got friends playing in the East, the South, whatever, and you can be able to watch them in those divisions as well. But we've got our next match coming up. Still TBT here, and looks like the map is getting figured out. I think, let's see, what do we got here for the map pool? Still GSL, ESV mix. We've got they can't play the same map twice, so we're not going to see Antigua Shipyard 2 times in a row. Don't worry about that. But there's still Cloud Kingdom, Metropolis, Ohana, Daybreak, Cloud Kingdom, and I say that already? I probably did. Atlantis Spaceship. So a nice, and Dual Site. So a nice little mix of maps to pick. And it looks like Ohana is going to be the next map that we're going to be starting on. So a little bit of a smaller map, but that might play into a Monkey style a little bit more. Because he was the one that was trying to poke up and be the aggressor first. He just kind of got a little bit stuck with that Hellion drop there. So we'll see.
Honestly, it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm trying to think to myself why he chose Ohana, in all honesty. I feel like it's a pretty decent mech map. Like it provides a pretty easy third because it's so close to your natural expansion, right? So you can set up in a fairly easy position where you don't have to cover, like on Antigua Shipyard. Your third is pretty far away from your main, especially if you get elevated there. You're a little bit vulnerable, which we saw last game. So in this, your main is still pretty vulnerable, actually, come to think of it. Like it's almost directly vulnerable.
And not to mention, drop play is still a little bit difficult on this map. Like the main base itself doesn't have a lot of airspace around it, like say Daybreak or something would.
Yeah, there's no real way to maneuver yourself around and try and come in from the back, let's say. You have to pretty much just go one path only. So you set up a ring of missile turrets right at the front, right at that front line, and you're pretty much safe from drops.
So now just kind of waiting on the players to let us know if they're ready. But where can they kind of find you online? It's not only can we find the players online, but where can you find you online?
Of course, we have our Twitters up on screen here. I'm at The Silence. It's the best way to either interact with me. Send me a tweet. I actually want to know, guys, all you 10 people who are in chat, where are you guys from? Are you guys watching from the north? Are you guys watching, like, from the other regions? Or maybe you're even in Europe. I don't know. Who knows, man? It's crazy.
But let us know, yeah. I'm, of course, Nanman. You guys can check out my Twitter as well, The Real Nanman. But I'm actually not in the north. I'm, you know, in Virginia on the east here, but that's okay. Now, before we get things to started with everything, let's introduce our players again. You want to introduce our blue Terran, because I think you, unless I switch colors. No, you introduced that person. How about introduce our red Terran? Because you didn't get introduced him last time.
All right. You can don't quite confuse him with Jinro though, guys. Even though his name is Monkey, the red Terran player.
And of course, his opponent spawning down here in that bottom right-hand side. We keep wanting to call him JediMcroTrix, but no, he is JediMcroTrix here. So we'll see how things work out. They switched colors on us, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Players love to do that in between games there. Now, you know, you mentioned how it's a little bit more of a mech-favored map here. It's much easier to use mech, like we saw. There's the circle rocks located at that natural to help get you a very easier third base. The third base, though, is a little bit more vulnerable than your other bases, a little bit wide open there, and it's got the airspace. That's the kind of the key thing that bio players kind of look for is their airspace that I can drop. The main base, though, there's some, like, you can still get away with drops, but it's much more difficult. There's, you know, you could throw like one missile turret there, have a Viking on patrol, and you'll be able to, like, basically intercept anything that comes your way. But Monkey opting for a little bit of shenanigans, though. He's going for Refinery first this time.
You know, I don't know if I necessarily call it shenanigans. No, you know what? Yes, you know what? Shenanigans is a pretty apt name, especially since his name is Monkey, of course. I think shenanigans and Monkey really couple together. And this is actually probably going to be for a very fast Banshee. He's going to open Factory and then probably actually make a tech lab onto the barracks, and then flip off the barracks from the tech lab, and then just wait as that starport is building, and then put that on there. So it's the fastest Banshee you can possibly get. And that could be either used for early defense if McroTrix decides to go for some early harassment, try and punish such a fast Banshee, or on the flip side, he could actually use that for offensive purposes and try and catch McroTrix out of play. But we can see McroTrix now going for a command center after barracks here. And you know what? Do you like this for Monkey?
I like that he's trying something a little bit different this time, you know, but he's basically revealed everything to his opponent kind of thing. Like, he even threw down the factory right in front of his face. And, and you know, if he stayed a little bit longer, he would have been able to see the tech lab as well. But I like that he's mixing it up a bit. He's got to make something happen with this, though, because that McroTrix here is opting for a more economic route, and he's going to have that advantage. We also see he's going for the double refinery reaction as well, so we could easily see him throw down a factory and a quick starport as well, just get one lone Viking to help kind of secure his side of the map here, and there's the starport going down on the tech lab immediately. Yeah, okay, I was about to be like, I wouldn't mind seeing a Hellion 2 to help get some map control out there and see what's going on. We do see Monkey will opt for that as well. And this Hellion could get used to kind of zip into the natural while he's harassing the main base or something, because oftentimes without stim, it's very difficult to catch one of those Banshees. So we'll have to kind of see how well JediMcroTrix lives up to his name there. Okay,
so this is a little bit scary. We saw last time JediMcroTrix doing the exact same thing, going factory or after barracks. But you can do that when your opponent is doing a 1-racks fast expansion. Now, when you're mirrored like that, that's perfectly fine. But in this case, where your opponent is teching up very fast, going extremely fast Banshee, you're not going to have the numbers that you need to defend against this Banshee in terms of Marines. You absolutely need that. And actually, he will only have 3 Marines by the time the first Banshee probably gets in here. And, you know, Monkey potentially could just end the game right away just because of the lack of barracks here. And yeah, he's teching so fast. He needs to be throwing down 2 barracks to be a little bit safer against such a build.
Yeah, and we do see he's got a small battalion moving up to the natural. He's got 2 Hellions, 4 SCBs, and 3 Marines. So I like this play. He's going to draw his attention elsewhere, and then the Banshee will kind of... Unless he's going to bring the Banshee up to the front as well. Let's see, where's that guy rallied?
Oh, no.
Looks like... We'll see how well he performs this. This Banshee could easily just kind of start harassing the natural. I mean, he doesn't know that that command center is down, but seeing that bunker kind of gives a little bit of a tell. Like, okay, it looks like you went for a quick expand style of play.
Okay.
And falls back to the watchtower.
That's okay. That's okay for McroTrix here. He made a reactor onto his barracks, so he's going to be doubling his marine production. That's a good play. I think Monkey, what he really wants to do, hopefully try and split the attention. Of course, there's only one marine. We do have more marines waiting at the main base here, but Banshee now has free reign to move on forward. Reinforcing marines. Got to be careful here, Monkey does. Move on back.
And no attack coming out yet, but there is the Viking that just now popped. So this Banshee is not really going to be able to do too much more damage, though. And, oh, SCV is trying to repair the Banshee. There's the medevac here. So he's going to load up, drop the Hellions into the main base, and potentially just kind of elevate the rest of the stuff in there. And it looks like he will be swinging over there. Oh, SCV is transferring back. So all of the attention's now at the natural for JediMcroTrix, and he has no vision of this area. So this is going to catch him very much so out of guard. Oh, now he does see it with the tank moving his way across. Oh, he could have seen it, but he didn't actually, so he's not going to be able to react to this in time.
This is a little bit scary. Luckily, he does have a tank, and a second tank is not on the way quite yet. Potentially a blunder here from McroTrix. And now the entire force of Monkey is into the main base through that medevac. But luckily, you know, McroTrix does have his Vikings. He needs to keep those alive. Target fire down the Banshee. There's a lot of damage done here for McroTrix. He's going to have to be pulling a lot of SCVs to hold this off.
Siege mode did just finish, so that will help out quite a bit. But the mineral line is very exposed, and he's going to pull all of those SCVs up, but they are all lined up right there for the Hellions to just kind of roast them. Vikings will be able to single turret down that Banshee. Does have 8 kills before it falls, but now it looks like Monkey's push will start to get cleaned up there with the extra marine support, but he's going to try to do everything he can to pick off a few more units here and there, and Vikings land for that little bit of extra support to save the tank from that one lone SCV there. So not too bad. Monkey is actually doing quite well there, coming ahead with 37 supply, 21 SCVs to that 28 supply, and 16 harvester count there.
Yeah.
So, no.
Monkey's going to just straight up commit to this right now. What he has to do, he's on one base, he's adding on 3 more barracks. The follow-up attack is going to be incorporated with siege tanks, but you know, if McroTrix is able to get up, really the only exposed place, I would say, probably the best place for Monkey to attack would be, again, elevatoring into the main and going right for the throat, right for the production facilities. And wow, McroTrix being... I'm surprised he's actually going for the second command center. Perhaps his scouting is a little bit lackluster. He doesn't quite know that there is no second command. He really does not need this third command center at this point in time. As long as he's sitting off 2 base right now, his worker count is even despite all the damages he took. So honestly, he's in not a bad position. He just has to constantly pump siege tanks and make sure he isn't caught off guard by another elevator.
Yep, but the Vikings did scout over and saw, okay, there is no third base up and running right now. Now we'll see how he reacts to this. We've got more Vikings getting produced, a couple of Hellions coming out. I like the decision to go for more Vikings. If you can kind of lock down your base with the Vikings, you won't be hit with those Banshees again. He's got, I think, 3 already out. Yeah, 3 out, 4th one just popping now, so not too bad. The third command center is a bit risky here, but after he scout this, I kind of like the fact that he could be able to just kind of use it purely for a macro command center, dropping mules, dropping SCVs into that main base or natural, and kind of just skyrocket up a little bit more, and we'll see how well he reacts to this. How many SCVs are coming? Not too many there, so Monkey's not like pulling all of them and just going for it, but this could still do a lot of damage. His air support, though, is only Banshees. He has no Vikings, so it's sort of in the favor of JediMcroTrix in that sense.
Yeah, and McroTrix,
these 2 are on patrol there, yeah.
That's good. He needs to have those on patrol. He's going to spot 1 Hellion potentially. We'll see if he's looking. Monkey is going to be looking for his point of entry. He only has 1 medevac, so it's going to be a very slow elevator if he chooses to do so. Oh, McroTrix is waiting right now here. He's going to actually target fire down the medevac, just about not to die. And that is the key. That is the key. If he gets down the medevac before it's able to elevator any units into the main base, that completely turns this entire game around here for McroTrix.
he's trying to lock down this position, but like there's nothing in range of the tank. So yeah, I guess that's a good positioning there. But oh, one Banshee goes down, second one's going to get taken very quickly, and he could easily just target that medevac at this point too.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you're Monkey, oh man, McroTrix being pretty careful. These positions, these Vikings here, and then this push just becomes null and void because what? You only have one medevac. You can't mass drop it here. Where can you move from this point in time? So he's just keeping Monkey in a stalemate and allowing his economy to push himself forward into this game. You know, he's at 47 to 29. So even though workers supply, or the supply is pretty even, Monkey does not have a second base. He does have the army advantage, but he just can't find that position that he really needs.
Yeah, I mean, the Natural has even more tanks there. He's got 3 tanks locked down there. He's got a lot of Hellions. So even though he'll take out these destructible locks, it's really not going to be the best plan. Like, he can't just kind of rush up there. He scans and sees that position, and he's just going to go for it here. Going from both sides, going to try to rush his way up the ramp, but Marine's kind of stopped in place, getting shelled on by all of the tanks. Here come those Vikings. They could easily take out that air support and land, and Monkey Supply dropping down to 40 here. He's only got a few tanks left, and GG is called.